All right, good morning, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Aforza Winter 22 Feature Overview webinar. In this webinar, we're going to go through a much more functional view of what we have released for our customers and partners in Winter 22. If you're looking for more of a demo or value-based webinar, I suggest looking at our latest Total Experience webinar, which we did last week and is now on YouTube. In this one, we're going to be going through each of the new features step by step, really just helping you understand what is there in the new release and how you can use that and leverage that as a customer or a partner of Aforza. So we're going to go through an overview of the release, and then we're going to take a look at the web enhancements followed by the mobile enhancements. One thing I do have to say before we start is, because this is a functional overview, we're not going into licensing or anything like that. So if you see a new feature and you have a question whether you as a customer or a partner representing a customer, if you can use that new feature, then we recommend reaching out to your account executive and they'll be able to tell you. All right, so release overview. So Winter 22, this was our 8th release now from the Aforza applications. We did this on time. We released this to all of our customers across the 4 continents and all of our various countries we support. We have a whole load of new features, which we're obviously going to go through. And we have a lot of supporting documentation as well, which I will point you to. In this presentation, I'm going to take you through some of our high level, our big ticket features, but there's a whole lot of stuff under the covers as well. And to see that, we recommend you looking at our release notes and our documentation, which are available to you. And that will give you a full rundown of every single thing that we've added, including any bugs we might have fixed as well. So this was our 8th release, as I mentioned. We're really pleased to have done this 100% on time again across all of our platforms, whether that's the Salesforce App Exchange, the Apple App Store, or the Google Play Store. We have over about 450 new features and bugs fixed in this release, so a lot of great new content available to you. And as I mentioned before, lots of supporting documentation through our release notes and our core documentation, which is available to you via our customer success portal. This will go into every single bit of detail about what's there. So if you fancy a bit of a dry read, then feel free to look through it all in detail. So I'm going to take you through firstly the web enhancements we've made to the consumer goods platform, and then we're going to go through the mobile enhancements. I'm going to put a few demos in there, and the total duration of this is going to be about 45 minutes, 40 minutes. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them. We'll get to them at the end if we've got time as well. So the first thing we're going to look at is the data model. Not the most exciting of things, but really critical for the foundation of what you're building for consumer goods applications. So we've made a few small tweaks and enhancements to the data model to help you with your solutions. So the first is we've got this new guides feature coming out, which is in beta. And I'm going to talk about that a bit later on in the slides. So we'll leave that for now, but it's a brand new feature. So I'm excited to share that with you in the slides afterwards. So what other changes have we made on the outlet assets? We've added a new promotion field. So whenever you now create an order and you complete that order and the outlet assets get created, so essentially the products purchased by an account or an outlet, we will now recognize the promotions that they were purchased from against that as well. So if there is a product that is on promotion, the customers purchase that will now flow through right into their outlet assets, which means that when you're in the store and you're doing compliance checks or you're trying to upsell them or restock, you're going to be able to see which products were on promotion when they bought them initially. So really critical little piece of functionality we've added there in terms of that custom field. We've also now added a new custom object called invoice payments. So later on in the presentation, I'm going to show you how you can now make a payment against multiple invoices or credit notes simultaneously. And this new invoice payments object actually tracks when a payment has been made against those multiple invoices. On the account object, we've added the minimum and maximum order value fields. So this is for tracking if you have customers that can only order up to a maximum value as part of a single order, and also minimum order value as well. So if the customer has to order at least say $500 worth of products or merchandise, they can do that, and you can track that as well. And then on the visits, we've introduced a new sequence field. And again, we'll talk about this a bit later, but this is for if you have a set of visits that you don't want to track by a date and time, and instead you actually want to create a set of visits that you do in a sequence, 1 to 10, for instance, you can now do that. You can now track that, and you can have them display in the retail execution application within the sequence instead of via the date time field. All right. So the first big new feature I want to talk about is trade promotion optimization. So this is a brand new feature we've added to our promotion functionality, and it sits alongside our trade promotion management capabilities. And really, it's allowing you to optimize and make sure the promotions you're building are as efficient and as revenue effective as possible. So what have we actually introduced? So there are two new sets of dashboards that we've introduced in this release. The first is our promotion planning dashboard. And this lets you do high-level promotion analysis. It lets you look at your sales order information, so what has actually been selling into your customers. And it looks at your objectives and business plans, your budgets and funds, and your inventories and stock levels. So this is your high-level, over-the-top analysis of your promotions. And it lets you drill down and look at the details of an individual promotion if you need to as well. But this is a great tool for measuring the effectiveness of your promotions and understanding what's worked and what hasn't worked. I'll give you a little demo of that in a second. And then the second dashboard we've released is this promotion insights tab. And this actually sits directly within a promotion. So when you're building a new promotion or you're trying to analyze how a promotion is actually performing, if it's been running for a while, you can now use this insights tab. And this is going to give you your details on your baselines, your predictions, your actuals. It's going to let you look at your P&L. And then it's also going to look at your promotion performance over time and how you're actually, again, selling into your stores. So let me go through a little demonstration of this and show you why this is so exciting. All right, so I'm now logged into the Aforza application here on this screen, and we're looking at the new optimization dashboard. And there are 5 tabs that we've got available. We've got our promotions tab, which we're currently on, our sales data, our objectives and business plans, our budgets, and our stock levels. And on each of these tabs, I get a series of different dashboards and charts and tables that allow me to understand exactly how a promotion or set of promotions is performing. So on this first one, the high-level information I get is, should I be running a promotion again? So I can see the overall effectiveness, the base revenue that we typically generate, predicted revenue, and then where we're actually sitting in terms of actuals. And this is for all promotions, but I can use the filters at the top here to actually go and start filtering down on specific types of promotions, promotions of specific status, names, product codes. So basically anything you want. So sell-in date, sell-out date. And this lets you get really, really granular, really specific for how you're looking at your promotions. If I scroll down a bit, we can see a promotion calendar type view. We've got information over time. We've got the actual tables with the details of how everything's performing. So we've got a lot of really granular insights here. And this is really to help us understand if a promotion is performing, or are our promotions in general performing well or not, and helps me gain insights on what I should be doing better or what I should be doing differently. The sales order insights then give us an overview of how we're actually selling into our stores. So this is actually a really important one, and this is what brings the value of the Aforza platform to life. So traditionally, if you were looking at business intelligence tools or trade promotion management and promotion planning, they would typically be siloed applications, and your retail execution, they would typically be siloed applications. So if you launch a new promotion and you push it out to the field that gets that promotion and they start executing on it, but you have no insight as to how actually it's affecting our sales or our revenue. But because Aforza is an entirely single platform, as people start taking this promotion and using it in retail execution or in telesales or in e-commerce and creating their promotions and creating their orders, that information feeds right back into our optimization dashboards. So we can see in real time, the revenue being generated, the volumes that we're selling, the the percent of sales of the brand or the category that this is responsible for. And hour by hour, I can see this changing. So if products are not doing well, for instance, these ice creams, I can make changes and tweaks to the promotion that we're running against those to make sure that they're actually, generating a good ROI for us and the promotion is worth running. So it's this real-time feedback of data, which makes our optimization extremely useful, as opposed to looking at data 3 months down the line and saying, hey, I could have done something differently, but I didn't know about it. We've got other tabs on here as well. I won't go into as much detail, but for instance, let's take a look at the inventories and stock levels. This is where I can start to see, do we actually have the stock to run a promotion? So if we've got stock that is, reasonably quite a lot of it, then we know, hey, we want to be shifting that. But if we've got stock that is actually, pretty low, then we don't want to run a promotion on that because, if we can't actually sell it, then there's no point promoting it. And then, as I mentioned, we've got our budgets and funds that we can look against and our plans and objectives and targets. So a huge amount of information here available that you can use to then generate your new promotions. But in addition to that, we then have our promotion insights tab. So directly on the promotion designer, which you should be familiar with from the last couple of releases, we've now got this insights tab. And on the insights tab, this is going to give me a real-time view of this individual promotion and how it's performing. So again, at the top, we have our base statistics like the overall effectiveness, which isn't great, the base revenue, predicted revenue, and actual. And that's useful at a high level. But then we can go down a bit further and we can actually see the sales orders over time for the individual SKUs that are part of this promotion. So again, this is taking that real-time data and making effective use of it. So in this really straightforward example, we can see all these SKUs at the top here, which tend to be the soft drinks, are increasing week on week as we're running this promotion, which is great. That's what we want to be happening. But all of these SKUs at the bottom here, which is these ice creams, they're basically just flatlining, right? The promotion is not helping us uplift those volumes in any meaningful way. So from that, you can obviously ascertain that, for some reason, we're not selling those ice creams. So maybe we want to start changing the promotion to highlight them more or to provide more discount on them, whatever it might be, right? But we're not moving them currently. And likewise, we can look on the left here and we can see the actual revenue that's being generated. So again, the soft drinks are generating quite a lot of revenue and our ice creams or frozen foods are not generating much. So again, that's telling us how we can improve this. And then right at the bottom, we've got our full profit and loss table for every SKU that we're showing in this promotion. So again, this is helping me understand what's going well, what's not going so well, and help me refine that promotion. And again, the real-time capability here is where it really shines, because if we see something is not working, like the ice cream, I can simply go into the designer and I can click edit and I can make a change to this promotion. And it might be changing the discount, it might be changing the products that we're selling. It could be anything, but I can simply go in and I can make a change. So I can remove that 75% off, and maybe I'm going to change this to something different, like 50% off. And I can search in my tactics for a 50% discount and add that on. I click done. And then just like that, assuming that it doesn't need to go through any approvals in your business process, your field team will now have that new promotion or the same promotion, but with the new changes and tweaks. So you can make these incremental adjustments, almost doing A/B testing as your promotion is in the field to see what works, what doesn't work. And that's the real power of our optimization capabilities that we've now released. So that was just a little high-level overview of that. Let me flip back to the slides now. And I want to talk to you about, again, a brand new feature, a really exciting one called digital asset management. So this is a new feature that we're only just releasing now. We're in the very early stages of it. So if you're interested in actually getting this feature, then please reach out to us and we can talk you through what's there and what's coming. We're really looking for some customers that are potentially going to be charter customers for us in this domain that really want to get hands-on with this new feature. But essentially, what digital asset management is a way of storing all of your digital content or your files against your Aforza data. So for instance, the example I'm going to show you here in a moment is actually storing your promotional assets And these might be planograms, they might be photographs of pieces of merchandise. It could be your promotional brochures that you're selling into your customers. All of that, all of those digital assets, whether they're images or PDFs or Word documents, they can be stored now against your promotions and against your other record types. So this is really important because, as a promotion manager or as a key account manager, you need to make sure that you've got this consistent messaging and consistent brand experience that you're talking to your customers about. And again, if you have a completely separate or siloed system which is containing your marketing material, there's no guarantee that the marketing material you're showing to your customer base is going to be accurate and is going to be correct for that promotion or that product that you're selling to that customer. So it's really difficult to keep the marketing material aligned with your promotions. So this is what our digital asset management does. It lets you assign and align all of your content against those individual promotions. And that's just one use case. You're also going to see this against accounts. So if you have important account contracts or delivery documents, they can all be stored against the account and you've got that consistent experience. All of your visits and your visit imagery, your photographs from stores can be stored against your visits again. So it really lets you store all of that information, all those digital assets consistently against the correct information in the Aforza CRM system. And in this initial release, we've got this fantastic new record asset manager, which I'm going to show you, but you can expect in subsequent releases a lot more deep functionality in here around tagging, around sorting and filtering in different galleries and different folder structures of information. And then you're going to see this expanding to all of the different channels, whether it's e-commerce or retail execution on mobile. It's going to be a pre-integrated solution that just works for everything you're already doing using the Aforza applications. So again, let's go through a quick little demonstration and show you this in action. So as I mentioned, we've got a great example here on our promotion. So in the promotion designer, again, you're going to see this new digital assets tab. And if you click on that, you're going to come to this digital assets page. But you can put this exact same component on any record you want to in Aforza, whether it is a visit, an account, a delivery, an invoice, absolutely anything, a product. You can put this same record on there so you can start storing your digital assets against any information within Aforza. And within the digital assets tab, you're going to see all of the digital assets, as you'd expect, associated to that particular bit of information. So I can see here, I've got these planograms, I've got some merchandise diagrams, I've got some floor plans about where the merchandise should be displayed as part of this promotion. And I've got some brochures as well. And I can search through all of these. So if I just wanted to look at my planograms, for instance, I can do so. I can sort and filter them. So I can sort them by name, newest, oldest, last modified. I can look at all files or then just images or videos, audio documents, presentations, spreadsheets, etc. And then I can also look at them in a more of a traditional table-based view if you just want to sort through these quite quickly. And all of these I can download directly from here, or I can actually go in and I can preview. And if I preview it, I get a full screen, the ability to view the image in full screen. I can copy the link, which gives me a temporary public link, which I can share with my customers. So if there's a particular diagram or contract or brochure that you want to make sure your customers are using in store, you can easily give that to them. But make sure you're keeping it secure for yourself because that link will expire after a certain amount of time. I can see details about the actual image when it was last changed. And again, I can also go and edit these details as well. So I could call this something else if I wanted to. And of course, I can delete and download these files as well. I have the ability on one of these then to click on the little 3-dot menu, and then I can do all of these changes from here as well. And I can also select multiple here. And as I select multiple, we get the bulk actions down the bottom where I can either delete multiple or download multiple at once. So this is just the first step into digital asset management. This is really just giving you that first glimpse of how you can start organizing your assets within Aforza. But as I mentioned, this is an ongoing new application that we're going to be consistently building, continually building. And if you're interested in using this sort of functionality within your Aforza suite, we would love to talk to you and get your feedback on new features and how we can enhance this. So that was that. Let me move back to the slides now. All right, so a few more things. All right, guides, that's the next big one I want to talk about. So before I go into this, just because this is a beta feature, and the reason it's in beta is what we've done is we've built out the designer interface, but there's currently no way to actually execute a guide once you've built it. So what you'll see in the next release is the execution side of guides, which is when you can actually start running a guide offline on your mobile device. But we wanted to release the designer now, just so you have an opportunity to go in and start playing around with it, clicking around in it, just to get familiar with it before we actually fully release the execution capability in spring. So what are guides? Guides are essentially a way of doing some sort of guided visit execution. So that might be something as simple as doing some Q&A, some survey type tasks, or it could be as complex as doing order capture with promotions whilst also capturing customer details and then doing an audit and then updating some attributes. So it's really a way of guiding your users through a step-by-step script or process within the offline mobile application. So we know a lot of customers have, when they do visit execution, they have a set of tasks. They don't care what order or sequence those tasks are completed in. They don't care whether a task is mandatory or not. They just want their users to go in there, complete the 5 tasks in any order they want and be done with it. But then the other side, we've heard from customers that are very prescriptive. They want to be able to go in and say, every single field user has to go through these steps one by one, requiring this information be gathered. And if they don't do that, then the visit can't be completed. So very, very prescriptive. And this is what Guides is doing. It's allowing you to create these prescriptive processes that your users have to walk through and making sure that they understand exactly what they need to be doing at every step of the way. So this is the new designer we've just introduced, gives you the ability to build out the start of these step-by-step processes. So let me jump into, again, a quick demonstration of this. So if I go to my visit planning, which is where I manage my routes and my agenda, you'll now see, once you activate beta features, this new guides button within the side menu. And when you click on the guides button, it brings you to the guides page where you can start creating your new guides. So I can go ahead and I can create a brand new one. And I'm going to call this the visit sales guide up here on the top. And we can see it's in draft status and I've got no steps in it currently. So what I can do is I can simply click add a new step here at the bottom. And this creates step 1. And step 1 might be collect customer details. And then I have the ability to start adding elements to it from our toolbar. So I can click on the survey thing here, and this gives me all the different element types I've got available. Now, this is just a very small subset for this initial release, but expect to see a huge amount more there in spring. But I, for instance, could put in a single line text box, and the question text could be, please enter your name, or the customer's name, I should say. Add that to the guide, and now we have the question. And then I could add, say, a multiple choice. Let's do multiple choice cards here. And then select outlet type. And we can start adding options on here really quickly and easily. And add that to the guide. So you can very quickly see how we can start building out the different questions, the different steps, and modifying the orders through drag and drop. Once I'm happy with this, I can publish it, and this will publish the new version. And it's now published, and this would then make it live and available for the mobile team to start using. But again, that's coming in the spring release. So a really great new piece of functionality. We want you to start playing around with this and testing this out. We're still actively building this, but again, we think this is really exciting. And this is going to let you do things in the future like conditional branching. So if they've answered question 1 in a certain way, then perhaps we want to go straight to step 3, for instance. We're going to have things like the ability to upload photos as part of a guide, capture signatures. So this is going to be, again, an ongoing new product that we're introducing, but we think this is really going to bring retail execution and your mobile capabilities to the next level as we progress this in the future. Okay, so I'm going to speed through a few more so we can get onto the mobile items. So we made a few small changes to order capture on both mobile and web. So the first thing is we've introduced a new order level quantity discount type. So this was a new feature from direct feedback from several of our customers. And in this one, this essentially lets you create an order level discount, so say 10% off the order, but only when a certain threshold or volume of items has been purchased. So for instance, the use case is, I want to give a 10% off on the order, but only when they've purchased a combined quantity of 50 SKUs. So you can now do this. And you can have tiered, so you could say 10% off once they've bought a combined quantity of 50, or 20% off when they've bought a combined quantity of 100. So you can have these tiered based order level quantity discounts. And again, this works on both web and mobile. We've also introduced the product auto add and delete against promotion products. So before, if you were to add, say, a branded fridge to your cart, you could automatically add ice cream SKUs into the cart, but this would not work if those SKUs were part of a promotion. But we've changed it now so that when you add a promotion, if any auto add rules apply to the promotion products, that will now also function and they will get added to the cart. We've also increased the number of product recommendations that you can be seen at any one time to 10 on web. And I believe mobile also has a large number like that as well. So just a few small improvements there. And then next, mobile. All right. So obviously mobile is one of our key product lines. You know, all of our customers are using our mobile applications. And in every single release, we do huge amount of investment in making sure that our mobile app is robust, it's stable, it's more performant. So in each single release, you might not see these kind of shouted about in the release notes or in our demonstration videos, but the mobile app is getting better and better under the cover. So we make error handling improvements, we make performance improvements, especially for older devices, which some of our customers might be using. We update the underlying technology that's running it. So every single release, you should see a marked difference and improvement in the performance of that application. And if there's certain areas that you are seeing performance concerns on, or you're saying, hey, this could be a bit faster, let us know, and we can put an effort into looking at that specific area and helping diagnose why you might be having trouble with it. But expect to see changes every single release in this regard. The other area we're continually enhancing and improving is our sync enhancements. So every single release, you're going to see improvements in the sync times, again, just by small incremental changes we make to try and make it as efficient as possible for you. And then you're also going to see new UI improvements and features. So for instance, in this release on the right-hand side there, you can see we now have a different syncing down animation, and you can see we now have a progress bar and updates on which current records or objects are being synced down or up. So this is different from our previous release, which was just a little spinner. So you now have real-time feedback on where you are in that syncing process, which makes a huge difference. If you're doing a 2-minute sync, for instance, and you're just not sure how long it's been going on and how long's left, you've now got this visual feedback, which is critical. In addition, you can click into the view sync information and you get that screen on the right, where you can start to see, again, the individual components and how long they're taking and their current status. So in that example there, you can see the account images have all been synced completely, and it's waiting on the order products and the invoice line items. So again, it's just giving you a bit more visual feedback, a bit more information about how the app is performing and how the sync is performing. And again, we are going to constantly improve our syncing. So it's going to be the best solution you can use in the market when it comes to offline applications. We're pretty sure we're already there, but we're going to make it better and better. Mobile configuration. So there's a lot to unpack here, and I think this is probably something that you should speak to your customer success teams about if you want to use this in detail. But we've made a huge amount of changes to the way we configure our mobile apps and the flexibility you have when you are building out your mobile configurations. So just to talk through a few of them, the first one we've introduced is custom filters. So this basically means that when you're downloading data offline for your mobile app, you can actually very granularly define what type of data should be coming offline. So for instance, you might want accounts only of a certain type. You might want promotions only of a certain type. You want your product catalog, you might only want certain products to come down. You have complete control now over what type of data gets pulled offline onto the mobile device. So you no longer have to depend on Salesforce security rules or visibility rules. You no longer have to artificially limit the amount of data that comes offline. You can build your own custom filters, which can very specifically pick and choose the type of data your users have access to. So that's a huge change and a really useful new piece of functionality you've got, especially if you've got a very, very large data set, like I know some of our customers have. We've also introduced offline smart actions, and I'll speak a bit more about this in a minute, but this is a really exciting piece of functionality because it lets you create your own custom offline logic. So whether you have some sort of order validation process, or you want to make sure the stock is all there before you complete the order, or you have your own little pricing implementation you want to add to the Aforza pricing engine, you can now do this and it works 100% offline like the rest of the application. So extremely powerful. We now support record types offline. So this was a highly requested feature. If you've got a lot of different record types and you want to have different layouts for your record types offline on the devices, you can do that. We support read-only fields and formula fields as well. We've introduced parent-child offline create. So if you create a new account and then immediately create new contacts and new orders and other related information while offline, we now support that. Before, it's quite difficult to solve that because of the way Salesforce handles their data, but we can now do that 100% offline. So that's a really good piece of functionality for our users in more disconnected areas. We now allow you to edit the order via a mid-order configuration form. So after you've clicked complete order, there's a new form that pops up and you can start adding custom fields and custom business logic to that. And for order items, you can also do the same. So if you've got order items in your cart on mobile, you can now click them and you can start entering custom field information about them. So these are features you don't necessarily need to use, but the options are now there and the availability is now there to customize the application to meet any sort of business use case you have. We also made some big improvements to the tablet UI, especially around our audit capabilities. So we've got a new modern trade audit UI, which is something we've heard from a number of our customers. And this is essentially giving you a configurable grid-based view for managing your audits. So in the screenshot here, you can see that we've got a number of ice creams that we're auditing. And on each of them, we can see the quantity, the status, the shelf price, and the purchase price. And that actually scrolls off to the right. So you can have as many fields on there as you like, making it really simple and easy for a user to go in and without changing the screen, just entering all the information extremely quickly. So this is actually phase one of this tablet UI. You'll see some more improvements in spring. But this is something we've heard from a lot of our modern trade customers. So we're really excited to introduce this. So smart actions. So I mentioned briefly how we now support offline smart actions. And this is a bit of a technical slide. So again, I suggest speaking to your customer success team about this one if you want to use it. But the really exciting thing here is your smart actions can now actually directly change the orders. So if I create a new order and it's got 5 order items in it, I can click a smart action and I could add a new tax to that. I could add a new discount line to that. I could remove items from the cart. I could update their quantities. I could add a brand new item or product SKU to that cart. using a smart action. So it gives you full control over the pricing and the quantities and anything in the cart. So this is really, really powerful. So if there's something the Aforza pricing engine doesn't quite do the way you want it to do, you can now add your own enhancements onto the end of it to update that pricing at the end of the order and get it accurately priced for your business cases. So this is great, and obviously this is all 100% offline, which is really fantastic. All right, so now on to retail execution specifically. So as I mentioned before, your visits can now be ordered by sequence or by schedule. So you can sort by sequence if you just want to have a route of, say, I don't know, 100 visits, have them executed in a sequence. You can now do that, and you don't have to have a specific start or end time against those visits. Invoice management, we now support, we've done a lot of enhancements here. So we now support credit notes. So when you do a return order, you can generate a credit note versus an invoice, which is obviously very important. And you can use that credit note then within the payments section to modify an invoice. So for instance, if you have a $500 invoice and a $100 credit note, you then only owe $400, which is great. We've now added some more support for printer dimensions. So if you have specific thermal printers or larger printers or smaller printers, we can now change, or you can now change the printer dimensions within these documents, so they will always print correctly for that dimension. And we've added some additional detail to the invoices as well. And then payment collections, we made some big changes here. So there's a brand new UI, which makes it a lot more easy to use, a lot more functional. As I mentioned just previously, we also support credit notes on here and multi-invoice and credit note selection. So I can select as many invoices as I like, as many credit notes as I like, and the balance due will then react intelligently, so it knows exactly how much the customer is due to pay. We've added more details to receipts. We have a new transactions tab, which you can see on the screenshot at the back there. And that will give you details about all the different payment transactions that customers made, either in your current mobile session or over a period of time. And then you can print receipts from those transactions as well. And we also now support custom field and record type support for the payment methods. So you can create your own custom payment method types. It might be check, it might be credit cards, bank accounts, it could be anything that you want to support. You can now do that. And then order capture. So all of those enhancements I talked about on web, we've also got on mobile. So everything's in line and the same. But in addition to that, we now have a new assortment filter during order capture. So both on tablet and mobile, you can actually filter by your assortments. Now this is really useful because you might want to have a perfect store assortment or a missing items like a white space assortment. You can now create those assortments and you can filter down the catalog based on those assortments, making it really easy for your sales users to understand what the customers should be stocking and what they haven't stocked using these new filters. And finally, we get to audits. So audits, as I mentioned, we now have the modern trade tablet UI, which is great, but we've also added new enhancements here. So we support capturing photos against the audit itself. We've always supported capturing photos against the audit items, but now you can actually just do photos for the general audit as well. We now support duplicate audit assets, which was a customer enhancement. So if you have multiple gondolas or multiple fridges or multiple shelves in the store, you can now have duplicate SKUs on there so that you can start tracking individual metrics against each of those SKUs. So you can see in the screenshot there, we've got 3 branded gondolas. That's actually the same SKU, but we've got 3 of them in a store, so we need to be able to track different information about them. And then, as I mentioned right at the start, we now support promotion products within our outlet assets and within our audits. So that means, as you can see in that back screenshot, when you have a product that was on promotion, you can actually see which promotion it was attached to, and they're all grouped. So this is really good for your promotion compliance because I can see, hey, these 4 beverages were part of a promotion. So I now need to make sure that they're compliant based on that specific promotion's stipulations of contract. So really critical to be able to differentiate when a product was on promotion versus off promotion, and capture again different information about those different SKUs. Finally, coming on to the miscellaneous, just a couple little housekeeping items here at the end. So the company configuration file, we've got a number of new fields that are in there. So the bottom one is the credit note. So when you have a credit note, you can customize the header, the footer, and the logo. We've added this new beta features flag. So if you want to use guides, if you want to take a look at guides, there's a new flag that you enable there, and that will expose guides to your users so they can now see them. And we've added a log expiry time. So if you're aware of our logging capability, which tells you if there's been errors with your syncing or there's been errors with any of the application, you can now persist those logs for a defined period of time before they get removed from your system. And I think that is it. So with that, I will say a big thank you to all of you. Honestly, we could not make these changes, and we could not continually enhance the product as much as we do without your feedback. So we're really pleased that you've joined us today. We're really pleased for all the feedback you've given us. And we hope there is something in that Winter 22 release which you find interesting, useful, and valuable. As I mentioned, the spring release is going to continue with this theme of adding more and more capabilities. And if you have any particular features you would like us to look at, please reach out to us and we'd be happy to consider them for the forthcoming releases. We thrive on your feedback. So with that, I'm going to say thank you and goodbye, and I think we'll end the webinar there.